Now at 5, voters are rushing to make their voices heard before Election Day. We'll have a recap of early voting and tell you about a last-minute effort by the post office to make sure all absentee ballots are counted.
You stand in line to buy shoes, you stand in line at the movie theater, or wherever you want, anything you really want to do, you will stand in line to do it. This is something you need to put on your calendar.
Also ahead, Election Day perspective from younger and older voters on the importance of skipping the excuses to cast your ballot.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
And now first at 5, early in-person voting is over. A record number of people have cast their ballots here in Indiana and across the country.
And we're still about 13 hours away from Election Day polls opening in Indiana. The race for president is what's driving so many people to the polls this year. We do have team coverage tonight as we speak with some of the last people to vote early today. We're also getting the generational perspective on this election, talking to some new voters and some seasoned voters.
And we start tonight with WRTV's Megan SANCTORUM live downtown at the main post office where people can hand deliver their absentee ballots to make sure they count. Megan.
Yeah, U.S. Postal Service employees are out here right now, and they are collecting absentee ballots. Now, this is a chance for anybody who requested one but didn't mail it back in time to make sure that their vote counts. Take a look behind me. You can see these employees. They have a setup here. This is the post office on Capitol and South. Absentee ballots have to be in possession of your clerk's office by noon tomorrow. So employees here at this post office will date stamp absentee ballots as they're dropped off, and then they'll overnight them and make sure that the ballots get to the appropriate clerk's office on time. This is the first year the USPS has ever done a drop-off event like this, and so far they've seen a couple dozen people come and drop theirs off. Now, meanwhile, other people were casting their votes in person today. In Marion County, you had until noon to get in line over at the City County building. Take a look at just how many people were out there. It was one of the longest lines poll workers tell us that they've seen. We caught up with the very last people in line who said they made it just in time.
I got giddy because I really thought we were not going to make it. We parked at like 3 minutes till, and we ran about 2 blocks to get here. I'm working in a poll tomorrow, so I didn't know if I was going to get a chance.
Now, we did see poll workers turn numerous people away if they tried to get in line after noon, and those voters that we spoke with at the end of the line say they ended up waiting 3.5 hours. Now, back here at the post office, residents of all counties can drop their absentee ballots off right now until 10 o'clock tonight, and then Marion County residents can come here and drop it off between 8 and 10 tomorrow morning. Reporting live, Megan SANCTORUM, WRTV.
Megan, thank you. And while there were only 7 early voting sites in Marion County, tomorrow on Election Day, there will be 187 locations for you to cast your ballot. Marion County residents can vote at the location that's most convenient for you, not a specific one. One of those polling locations is Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which was getting set up today. Free parking will be available tomorrow to any Marion County voter inside the Virginia Avenue garage. Lucas Oil Stadium is another location where you can vote tomorrow. The South parking lot will be open. The Pacers, Fever, and Colts are all taking part in efforts to encourage people to vote this year. If you are looking for places to vote that are available to you, go to WRTV.com/election2020. You will find a link to locate a polling place.
President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden have one last shot to make their case to voters. There are these last few hours to rally voters in states where polls show the race is tight. ABC's Andrew DYMBURT is in Washington, D.C. on Election Eve.
The presidential campaigns are reaching the end of the trail.
Tomorrow we are going to win this state, and we are going to win 4 more years in our great White House.
Folks, Ohio, one more day. One more day.
Tomorrow, the final votes will be cast for president, and both candidates are blanketing the battleground states. On the eve of the election, Joe Biden is zeroing in on Pennsylvania, a state that could ultimately tip the scales. President Trump won it by less than a point in 2016.
You know, the good news, we're going to win anyway. We're going to shove it We're going to win anyway.
Some of the final polling shows Biden with a lead in the Keystone State despite the race tightening. In this battleground blitz, running mate Kamala Harris is hitting eastern Pennsylvania with her husband, while Biden and his wife Jill are stumping in the western part of the state.
Presidents don't determine who gets to vote. Voters determine who's going to be the president.
For President Trump, behind in most major polling, it seems like a rough road to re-election, though his team remains confident of a victory. And after record numbers of early and mail-in voting, Trump is counting on a massive Election Day turnout.
Get out and vote. That's all I ask. Just take a little time and vote.
The latest 538 forecast gives the president a 10% chance of winning a second term. He's been storming through the battleground states, today stopping in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. It follows his 5 rallies from Sunday. As for election night, experts say there's a likelihood a winner will not be declared due to the challenge of counting the record number of votes. If the race is close, the candidates are preparing for a legal showdown. Trump telling reporters in North Carolina,
As soon as that election's over, we're going in with our lawyers.
Biden responding, he's ready too, saying in a statement, we are prepared for all scenarios, and part of being prepared means having the resources necessary to continue the fight. Although some experts believe it could take days to count up the massive amount of votes in some critical battleground states, in other battleground territories like Florida and North Carolina, for example, they could see results faster as they expect to count most, if not all, of their mail-in and in-person voting on election night. Andrew DYMBURT, ABC News, Washington.
Some downtown Indianapolis businesses have started boarding up their windows and front doors. We don't want to assume the reasons business owners and managers are making this move, but it is hard to ignore the wooden planks are going up on the day before the election. We noticed banks and other financial institutions near Monument Circle with boards outside their buildings. The owner of a lunch spot on Market Street explained to WRTV why she's adding this layer of protection at this time.
The fear is that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we don't know who's going to be upset and who's not going to be upset, although somebody will be upset, and we don't know what they're going to do. And I can't afford to replace another window.
We also noticed boards going up outside a breakfast spot on Delaware Street, a dentist office, and a brew house on the corner of New York and Delaware. Other business owners near Monument Circle tell WRTV they plan to put up boards tomorrow.
This election season, we've been hearing from Hoosier voters of all ages and all walks of life. Today, Troy Washington talked with a woman who has been voting for decades and a young man who has not been able to vote for a decade. They're sharing the importance of exercising their rights.
This election is extremely important to me because I feel like this is a potential turning point in history.
Dontrell Kelly is just 27 years old. He's what most would classify a millennial. But don't count him out because he says he knows his vote matters.
I've actually just recently got married in June, and my wife is now pregnant.
He's thinking about his own legacy and how voting impacts his family.
We can wait in line. We can stand and wait for some time.
He's referring to the long lines everyone has been talking about. As a new husband and soon-to-be father, he wants to make sure he's a part of how our nation proceeds. For his generation, he's concerned about police brutality and wants change.
There's just been a sense of heaviness over the country, and I feel like the heaviness is just weighing down on people.
Sandra Williams has voting experience that spans decades.
I started when I was old enough to vote, and I'm now 79.
This year, she tried to mail in her ballot.
I sent in 2 applications to vote through the mail. Never received a ballot.
When that failed, she turned to Souls to the Polls. The van took her to vote in person.
I was determined I was going to vote one way or the other.
She says she's not new to voter suppression, but knew nothing would stand in her way.
You stand in line to buy shoes, you stand in line at the movie theater, or wherever you want, anything you really want to do, you will stand in line to do it. This is something you need to put on your calendar.
Both this 27-year-old and this 79-year-old agree it takes voting to see change.
You'll wait in line to go buy some new Jordans. You'll wait in line to go do XYZ, but you can't wait in line to use your voice to make change.
They say if you can't wait in line to make another plan to vote, but whatever you do, don't make an excuse. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
Tomorrow, it's Election Day Live here at WRTV, your place for local updated coverage all day. We will be at the polls looking at key races, providing analysis and, of course, results when they come in. Look for us on the WRTV app on your streaming device. We will also provide you live results throughout the night here on WRTV with a complete wrap-up on the news at 11. Weather always plays a big factor in turnout on Election Day. How it's shaping up for tomorrow, Kevin?
Sunshine and Election Day go hand in hand. So if the line goes out the door, which it will, you'll have a shadow next to you because of the sunshine. That's the good news. How late did you sleep this morning? I ask you that because the coldest temperature occurred at 7:18 in Indianapolis at 26. It was down to 23 in Terre Haute. That's in the past, the rearview mirror. Where are we now? Temperatures, they're generally in the upper 40s, 49 in Lafayette, 49 in Terre Haute. That's a huge recovery, 46 in the metro area. Just some filtered sunshine here just ahead of sunset. That wind out of the southwest will keep our temperatures a little warmer. We'll still call it cold, but not nearly as cold. Temperatures should be above the freezing mark first thing in the morning. We'll talk about the temperature trend for the next several days coming up.
We'll see you soon, Kevin. Thank you. The coronavirus and how it's being managed is another issue driving voters to the polls. It's also a reason many people decided to vote with absentee ballots this year. Let's get today's numbers. Another day of new positive cases topping 3,000. The state health department reported 3,080. Those results were all recorded yesterday. The statewide number is now more than 185,000 total cases since March. The positivity rates continue to climb. The overall rate for unique individuals is up to 10.7%. The 7-day rate between October 20th and the 26th is at 15.9%. The state is also reporting 26 more deaths of people with COVID. Those deaths occurred between October 15th and yesterday. The statewide total is now 4,150. This is also the day the state updates the impact of coronavirus on schools. It's done weekly every Monday. There are 865 more cases in students from last week, 204 more teacher cases, and 255 new positive cases in staff members. And some of those cases go back as far as September 21st through Friday. Again, this is not a complete picture of coronavirus in the state's schools. 453 schools have not made a report to the state.
Still ahead on WRTV, a new downtown landmark is taking shape. The larger-than-life tribute to Holocaust survivor who stood 4 feet 9 inches tall but shared an important message heard around the world. 4 games, 4 wins. IU and Purdue football are both undefeated to start November. Coming up, see how the Hoosiers continue to gain national attention, and Purdue starting this week with a huge question about their next game.
Well, the start of Big Ten football has been very good for both IU and Purdue. The Hoosiers continue to climb the charts after their 2-0 start. As for the Boilermakers, they might be getting an unexpected bye week in their schedule. WRTV's Brad Brown has a look at the week for both teams.
27 years have passed since the IU football team climbed this high in the Associated Press top 25, all the way up to number 13 in the country this week after what turned out to be a 37-21 win at Rutgers.
Told our team again this morning, doesn't matter what I believe. I told them what I believe, but it's what they believe and how are they going to prepare, and ultimately how are they going to perform on game day. That's what matters. And so it's our preparation is going to be the key. We have to clean up the mistakes that we've made the last couple of weeks and keep getting better.
Quarterback Michael PENIX Jr. ran for an early touchdown. He threw 3 more as the game went on. IU's offense tallied just 343 total yards, but it was enough.
I just felt like we connected with the receivers a lot more, and we started earlier this game. I feel like the guys still making plays, on the outside, and just O-line just working very hard to make sure that they get on their blocks and just executing the simple plays that Coach Sheridan put in.
IU hosts Michigan on Saturday.
As for Purdue, they are set to play Wisconsin coming up this weekend, but the Badgers are currently dealing with 22 positive cases of COVID-19 amongst players and staff. A decision will be made on Tuesday at whether that game will be played at all.
The Boilermakers' 2-0 start has largely been in the hands of wide receiver David Bell. After 3 TD catches in the opener, Bell caught another at Illinois, and a first down reception late sealed the deal in a 31-24 win.
Coming in as a freshman last year, just playing high school and then having a full collegiate level, I think just the time last year and then this offseason, I trained tremendously. I understand defense much better. I think that's what's
We'll see if Purdue gets a shot to take their record to 3-0 if they face the Badgers this weekend. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Brad, thanks. And tickets are now on sale for the Colts game against Green Bay on November 22nd. Up to 12,500 fans will be allowed inside Lucas Oil Stadium. That's the same number allowed for this Sunday's game versus the Ravens. Normal capacity for a Colts home game is around 63,000.
A larger-than-life tribute to a tiny woman with a powerful message is starting to take shape on the side of a downtown building. The mural honoring Holocaust survivor Eva Moses Core is being painted on the south wall of the 500 Festival building on Virginia Avenue. Eva Core died last year at the age of 85. As a Holocaust survivor, she became an internationally known champion of human rights and forgiveness. She's depicted wearing her trademark blue suit. The mural is based off of a photo of Eva taken during one of her many visits to Auschwitz, where she was imprisoned as a child. She lived in Terre Haute for 59 years and opened a Holocaust museum there. The mural is expected to be completed by the end of the month. Kevin now joins us with a look at our forecast and some sunny skies to start the week, Kevin.
You gotta love that. Any Halloween candy left over, Amanda?
Eek. We may have gone through all of it. It's hard.
It may not have been the trick-or-treaters that ate it all. I gotcha. All right, look at the skies over Indianapolis. Basically clear. We do have some high, thin cirrus clouds across central Indiana. That will help keep temperatures from falling off as much as they did last night. I want to show you where our warm-up will come from. Lots of 6s right now on the map. 46, Zionsville and Fishers, Martinsville and Edinburgh, Plainfield and Greenfield, 47 in the Castleton area. Notice the darker blues are now into northern Pennsylvania, New York, and New England. That's the cold air. It's being pushed out of the lower 48, and the U.S. warmth will come from central portions of the country, pushing to the northeast on a change in wind direction. Temperatures overnight tonight, it's still cold. We'll be in the 30s, but by noon tomorrow, 54 degrees. We'll have plenty of sunshine to go with that. The breeze will be at times 10 to 20. So definitely take a jacket. Temperatures in the 50s. If you happen to be in the shade of a building or something as you're waiting outside, that will have an impact. But otherwise, a great day to go to the polls. Temperatures consistently above the average, which is in the upper 50s, and at times we should make it to 70 or above, as you'll see revealed in the 7-day forecast. There's your warmer southwest wind. It won't be as strong as it has been the last couple of days. Peak gusts today were 23 miles per hour in the metro area. Lafayette with a 24 mile per hour gust, but remember yesterday 40-mile-per-hour gusts were common. During the day tomorrow, they're all the central Indiana temperatures. Little warmer to the south and west. Bloomington, Terre Haute, I'd say Greenfield will be in the low 60s, while Bloomfield in Greene County, started to get those mixed up, will be in the mid 60s. Okay, turn the page. Wednesday, a little bit warmer. We gain momentum as we go through the week. We hold on to lots of sunshine on Wednesday. Another change will be the fact that our wind will pick up a little bit stronger as we transition to temperatures well above average. More in the way of clouds Thursday, but still dry. Maybe mostly cloudy in the morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon, and just in time for your weekend. Temperatures at 70 or above Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You may hear the roar of a lawnmower again in your neighborhood as temperatures climb well above average.
Thank you, Kevin. Tonight's episode of Dancing with the Stars is still a couple of hours away here on ABC, but we already know one celebrity dancer is out of the competition for the season due to a serious health concern. Television host Jeannie Mai is in the hospital and requires immediate surgery to address an inflammatory condition in her throat that can cause swelling and block airflow to the lungs. She released a statement saying she is heartbroken that her Dancing with the Stars journey has come to an end, and tonight's show was supposed to feature a double elimination, but with Mai's departure, only one other couple will be sent home. You can watch all the action beginning at 8 here on WRTV. Still ahead on the news at 5, it's not just for kids. The new line of Play-Doh for adults in the special scents created just for grown-ups.
We're all looking for a little stress relief these days, and why should kids have all the fun with Play-Doh? The toy brand is launching a new line of famous dough for adults. The Play-Doh for grown-ups has more sophisticated packaging, and it comes in grown-up scents like overpriced latte and spa day. There's also mom jeans, which smells like freshly washed denim, dad sneakers, which gives off the scent of new shoes, Lord of the Lawn, which smells like fresh cut grass, and Grill King, which will leave you hungry, smelling like a smoky barbecue. You can find the Play-Doh for grown-ups at Amazon and Walmart. It costs about $12 for a 6-pack of 4-ounce cans. Hey,
whatever works.
Money well spent.
Okay. Historic early voting numbers in Indiana. We break down how many Hoosiers have already voted and what it could mean for Election Day tomorrow. That's tonight at 6. And next on the news at 5:30, Social Security scam. A woman who just lost $4,000 to this phone scam shares her emotional story to warn others so you don't become a victim too.